told him they were going to win. He didn't want to believe me, folks. More scripted than Law and Order SVU. More scripted. He didn't want to believe me.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're all over the web. As you saw, yes, Ed Young dragged me kicking and screaming, ladies and gents, last Saturday after our show in the evening, after he had major difficulty. If you folks could only see, witness, go back and watch if we had recorded it for posterity, his challenges locating and getting his tickets that he had for the event and our entry into the event at what was the name of the place? Good morning, Ed. Was it the Masonic Temples where it was? We were there by Granby High School, Granby Street,
right next door to Granby. I wasn't doing the kicking, but I was screaming about couldn't get into the email.
You were definitely screaming.
You know, I love technology, but I did not remember my password. So it told me to go somewhere, alternate email, to retrieve my password.
Yeah.
I don't have an alternate email. And then it said, put in previous password. That's what I don't know. How am I going to put in a previous password if I don't? I love technology.
You're like my dad when he gets locked out of his bank account.
And guess what? Guess what I found later in a text message, in my text messages.
Something to do with your email.
No, the 2 tickets for the show.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, but we already got in. So
but we got in. It was tremendous show. Hats off to Eric Johnson, head basketball coach at Grassfield, and his young son. We all,
you know what? His kid, by the way, might have been more into it than anybody in the building. He had a great time. He had tons of fun with it. He enjoyed it thoroughly.
He's a good dude, and both good dudes. And I told E that his son's getting better and better in basketball, and if I ever were to coach in the area again, I might have to recruit that youngster because I told him, you don't want to play for your daddy. He's crazy.
It's not this if you ever coach again. Because I'm tired of getting peppered with are you going to coach again or not going to coach again? The ifs, come on, you're still talking like you want to coach. Stop that.
As my quasi agent, all you have to do is tell them, here's his number, call him. They should not be peppering you.
You have to indicate who them. I tell that too, and then we make the deal happen. And how much do I get commission out of this? What do I get out of this deal?
Standard deal for agent is 2%.
Oh, 2%. Well, then you're going to be retired, buddy. It was nice knowing you as a coach.
I mean, that's standard agent money, I think, is 2%.
Oh, the only thing it's 2% is milk at the grocery store. I go get that for 2%.
I drink that too. Well, it's like I tell, agents if agents want more money, they've got to get their client more money. The more money the client gets, the more money the agent gets. Simple.
But real quickly, before we transition from wrestling to what else we did last weekend, and we have a jam-packed show for folks out there here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. You'll get all kinds of notifications and updates when we go live with things. We got the big Beach District football coaches luncheon coming up on my birthday, by the way, in 10 days. I don't know if they'll have a cake for me. Probably not. Coming up on August 13th. We'll actually be talking with one of the Beach District football coaches here in just a little bit. That's Tyler Noe, the head man at Cox in his second season. He took over for Pro Football Hall of Famer Alan Faneca, was an assistant with him, was an assistant for a lot of years under the great Bill Stachelski, who we know well. And Coach Noe had a lot of heart-stopping wins, then a tough loss in the first round of the playoffs on a final play against Kempsville, but he'll give you the outlook for the 2024 Falcons. We've also got Harry Minium of ODUsports.com stopping by. He does tremendous work. You know him for many years, Ed, with the Virginia Pilot, all the stories he did, and does great work covering ODU athletics thoroughly online. He'll give you what it looks like for the Monarchs this year as their first game is right around the corner, folks. South Carolina Gamecocks in Old Domain. They got an intriguing home schedule. We'll tell you about season tickets, too. He was down in New Orleans for the Sunbelt Media Days, so he'll give you the lowdown and breakdown on all that. And then Smithfield head football coach Tracey Parker, I believe. You've got him coming on with us to chat about not just his days of being your office mate and how miserable he was during that time, but what the outlook is for the 2024 Packers. as well. But we also went to the Seven Cities Pro-Am last Sunday too. But I want to get back to the wrestling just for a second here. I want to get to that because, somebody who's not a wrestling aficionado like you and Coach Johnson over there at Grassfield, I must say, not knowing any of the names, I'm more clueless about the wrestling names than you are about some of these high school football names I got to fill you in on as we get closer to kickoff here coming up with that. I was hitting them out of the park. I think I was about 80% on my picks, maybe 85%. I think my wrestling picks are better than your high school football picks, which is not saying a whole lot, to be perfectly frank. But, I think I did end up edging you guys just by a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, surprisingly, you got the outcomes better than we did. It was their big show. Virginia Championship Wrestling's big. They call it the Lethal Lottery show, where they have tons of matches, and then at the end they had what is normally called a battle royale, where people are in the ring. I guess the difference between a battle royale is you have 20 guys in the ring at the start. Lethal Lottery, you have 2 guys in to start, and then every minute a new guy comes flying in. So it kind of keeps the action going. People don't know who's coming in. And we all know wrestling is scripted. They don't like the F word, the other F word.
Definitely scripted.
So it's scripted. So you pretty much can tell who the winners are. I was dealt a swerve, another word, insider term in wrestling, where
Swerve.
you think this guy is going to win. All signs indicate it, and he's not, for reasons of the crowd or the particular type of event. It's somebody else they give somebody else the belt or the win. So that's how you got it. And I'm giving you credit. You won yourself a free ticket.
It sounds like a backhanded compliment. This is your way of giving credit, but you do it in a way to protect yourself. A little salty over there.
You did a good job. Now I was hoping the boar was going to come across the rope and into the crowd and give you a couple across the head.
That'd have been bad.
Trying to get
listen, you was heckling some of them quite ferociously, I might add. I thought they might come and get you. In fact, you did have the line of the night when you told the guy, and again, I don't know many names, but I think the guy, his name is Sharky, the manager of one of the fighters. I think you did tell him, take that suit back to Sears. That was the line of the night.
Yeah, well, I think it was kind of like Sears needs that suit back, sucker, Sears sucker suit. And then how about the dude wearing his wife's trunks? And he tried to come over, and I said, you can't wear shiny, tight stuff that your wife wears.
Yeah, he didn't like that very much. I thought he was literally going to go choke slam you through a table at that point.
Yeah, and then he yelled at me. He says, "No, you're wrong, buddy. These are your wife's shorts." And see, I said, and I said, "Well, that's how stupid you are, you idiot. I ain't married." And of course, the crowd went crazy. So, but that's part of the show. I was part of the show. You
were part of the show. It made you an instant creature or character, I should say.
I was a ringside character. That back in the day, there used to be they had a lady called Rosie, Ringside Rosie, and she would really heckle people. She'd bring an umbrella and poke them and all this kind of stuff. And of course, the wrestlers aren't allowed to touch the fans. Of course, the fans ain't allowed to touch. I even had to get on the security dude. How about the time I told him to move? Yeah, he didn't like that.
He didn't like that. He looked at you, and I thought he was going to be like the guy, the big bouncers that says you can't come in the club. I was like, uh-oh, you're getting ready to get booted out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna
get thrown out. Oh boy. Yeah.
No, but
I was like, listen, whatever you do, don't boot him out. He's my ride home. I'm taking Uber if I don't have him. Hold on now. Right. But no, it was actually more fun than I thought it would be. I'm not saying I'm a converted wrestling geek now or wrestling nerd. I did used to like wrestling in my younger days, back in the Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah, step into a Slim Jim days. But once Hogan became a heel and it went NWO and the WCW, all that, and after the Stone Cold, the Rock days, I fell off because it became too much for me. Now I know it's still highly popular for you. It's must-see TV for you on Monday nights, and it's good for the I know they got AEW, I think, coming to Old Dominion's Chartway Arena next month. You won't be there for that, but I know a lot of people will be into it. So I'm sure there will be lots of fun with that coming up.
Those rings.
Oh, and guess who else we saw there as he chimes in? Our buddy Derek Fulgham was there. Wants to know when you will make your managing debut.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to be. I don't know if I'd be a good guy manager or a heel manager, which one I would make the better manager for. But I often thought about trying to be a part-time manager for a wrestler ringside. And now what'll happen is people will be able to heckle me. You would love coming to me and giving me all the words you can, because
Yes,
I wouldn't be able to do much back. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that. When you go to the minor league wrestling, I think you have more fun because of the interaction. When you go to WWE or AEW, especially WWE, first of all, the ringside seat, we were in the second row. We were 10 feet from the ring.
yeah, we were close. We got some more clips that we'll sprinkle out throughout the morning here.
Yeah, that ticket there in the WWE would cost you about $500, and AEW is probably about $400, and the interaction is not as fun. So I don't go to too many of the big ones because the seats are further back and there's no interaction. The big fun part about the wrestling is interacting with the wrestlers. I don't cuss them, but I love screaming at them and telling them, about things they're wearing and whatever. So it's part of the show. But that was a fun night.
I give it a B plus. Other than you almost getting thrown out, and the guy that thought he was funny as a comedian, that was a little bit of a waste of time. And the battle royale, it was a little too many guys. I'd trim it from like 20 to about 12 to 15, maybe a few too many. I thought it had its entertainment value for a Saturday night, on a night where your Yankees had to escape an extra inning affair with the Red Sox. Been playing better, though they have the worst, I think, starters ERA since June 5th or June 15th in the sport. I saw just the other night on the tube. But and then we went Sunday to, as I mentioned, shout out to our buddy Super Eric Rogers. Super E and James Flood do a fabulous job with the Seven Cities Pro-Am. Got to see a lot of talent. One of your former guys was out there, Jaleel Langston. A number of players from around the 757, Joe Bryant, who started obviously at Norfolk State, Lake Taylor, some Old Dominion guys. Danny Pounds will be a key contributor for the Monarchs this year. Some others were out there. It was a good night for that, for sure, and a good day for that, I should say. We went there for the semifinals and the finals, and even got to connect. He didn't play, but Darion Sebron, who was part of that Lake Taylor State Championship trio with Jalen Jordan and Joe Bryant. Jordan and Bryant played in the event. He's now with the Chicago Bulls Summer League team. He played with the Pelicans last season. He's going to come on the podcast sometime down the road. It was good to see him and chat for a couple minutes with him. So he's going to be one of our guests down the road. So they do a great job with that. It's, we also ran into one of our pals too, Ed Miller, who wrote for the Pilot for many years, covered the ODU beat, high schools, colleges, all that good stuff. And he made a good point too. I don't think people around here appreciate enough that we have a pro summer league, as far as some guys that are playing pro ball, college, local talent in the area. And I think it's good for the folks to go out and support those type of events.
No question. It was a good weekend. And that Saturday afternoon, you weren't able to make it, but I went to the Nansemond River alumni game.
That's right. You did go to that.
A ton of my former players and managers and so forth. That was just a tremendous event for me to attend, and I'm happy to see everybody and proud to see all the guys. And the game was really good. And the big thing is nobody got hurt. And then of course Sunday we went to the Pro-Am, which was some good action. Mm-hmm. Not quite as much defense as I would like to see, but a lot of action.
More than you'll see in an NBA All-Star game, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, the NBA All-Star game is starting to become like the NFL Pro Bowl game, which is the worst All-Star game. I don't even know if they even have it anymore. I think they play flag or something.
The worst.
The Pro Bowl is the absolute worst. The guys don't tackle. They don't even want to engage at the line of scrimmage. And I kind of get it, but I don't. Major League Baseball still has a good All-Star game. The guys play. They play for real. Hockey, I have not watched the NHL Hockey All-Star game, but I understand they play, but there's definitely not as much. I don't think there's any body checking in the All-Star game like there is in the regular season games, which is a big part of hockey. I'm not big on that part, but it is a big part of regular hockey. But they still play. They still skate it and play it. But I think baseball still is the best one. As for the Yankees, 5-1 in their last 6, got smacked last night. And a good thing happened in last night's game. Mr. Gleyber Torres got benched for not running out a hit. So that's a good thing to see.
That's right. He did.
Yep. Finally, Boone did my what I've been saying all year long. I need some Billy Martin out of Aaron Boone. And he took him out of the game. Not in the middle of the game. He just kept him in the dugout. And he had hit what he thought was a home run, hit the base of the wall, and he ends up at first base. If he runs as soon as he hits it, which you teach in Little League, I believe he's quick enough. He would have been at second base. And then he would have scored on that hit where he got thrown out from first base at home plate by a mile. So Torres does not have that hustle ambition in him. He is a talented 25-year-old kid, young man, but he needs a change of scenery, and the Yankees will not re-sign him at the money he wants, and he should have been traded at the deadline.
Well, two quick things. One is, while you talk about your Yankees, and we'll maybe have some time to sprinkle in some thoughts on the trade deadline before we go to break here and chat with Tyler Noe of the Cox Falcons. But that wasn't even the biggest story in baseball last night. That was Blake Snell throwing a no-hitter. His first ever complete game as a pitcher, as San Francisco is starting to pick it up in the NL West, which I am prejudiced to as a Diamondbacks fan. I think is the best division in baseball because you have the Diamondbacks breathing down the throats, the necks of the sputtering LA Dodgers, just 4 games back at 4. Count them, 4. Go find the Eddie Johnson, Michael Jordan story from an exhibition game where he does the 4. You'll have fun with that. But 4 games back, and San Diego's right there as well. They beat the Dodgers a couple times, had a dramatic comeback earlier in the week. And then the trading deadline, I must say the Orioles, who have lost back-to-back games now to the Guardians, who have the best record in the sport, Cleveland, which won 2 of 3 in Philadelphia, much to the chagrin of our pal Jack Lowe, the big Phillies fan that he is. The Orioles might not have done enough. They get Rogers from Miami. They get Zach Eflin from Tampa, a couple of relievers from Philly, and Sir Anthony Dominguez and Soto, who had a rough time last night. I'm not sure the O's, while they made an effort, give Mike Elias props for that. Maybe he should have gone all in on Blake Snell. It's easy to say now. I'm caught in the moment here. I'm not trying to be a prisoner of the moment, but people were saying, and I told you guys, I was like, I didn't think Scuba would get traded. I didn't think Guerrero would get traded. I didn't think a couple of the bigger name guys would get dealt. There was a flurry of activity, a ton of moves, but yeah, you wonder if the O's made the right moves. I think your Yanks made a good move. They got Jazz Chisholm. They got a swing and miss reliever to help out that bullpen, which has been struggling with Clay Holmes, the back of it. As you see, Mr. Leiter now coming in from the Cubs has given them a little stability. A lot's going to hinge on the health of Stanton if the starting rotation, which has quality arms, can step it up. But I don't know if a whole lot changed. I tell you what, going back to Cleveland for a second, getting Lane Thomas was a really good, shrewd pickup from the Nats, who aren't all in, not a title contender just yet. And in addition to that, they went out and got Alex Cobb from San Francisco. If he becomes healthy, that'll help bolster their rotation even further to go with Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams. So, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I think the O's might have taken. Is it weird to say a minor step back with the trading deadline? I thought they'd make more of a move, and they didn't do that to me.
See, I'm the opposite of you. I think they really helped themselves. Now, for a team with one of the better records and been in first place most of the year, they brought in probably the most 25-man roster players of anybody, which was surprising, especially with a team that has great talent at the minor league level, even though they traded 2 of those youngsters away to Miami to get Rogers. But I still believe they will win the American League East. I don't think the Yankees will edge them out. Chisholm was a great pickup for the Yankees. He's given them a great energy and excitement if he can sustain it. Now, they put him at third base, and he looks awful shaky at third. He's made some good plays at third, but you could tell he's not real comfortable. He's never played it, but he was willing to play it. It was funny. They were going to move Torres to third. Torres said no, and they took Chisholm, and Chisholm's comment was, I'll play wherever you need me. You go from one guy, no, I'm a second baseman, to another guy that says, I'll play wherever you want. I never played third, but if you feel I can help, let's go. And he did it. And then he went crazy with the home runs, and we had 4 in 3 days or something like that. And he's not known as a big home run hitter. So, yes, it was a great pickup. I'm still a little upset they did not get more. They should have did what Baltimore.
Oh, you're greedy. You always want more. You're the guy that goes to the buffet. Give me another plate. Give me more ice cream. Give me more. Another soda. More.
I would have taken Chad Green back from Toronto. Toronto was giving up everybody. They were not. They didn't get rid of. They got rid of Biggio before the deadline for the Dodgers, but they didn't get rid of Bichette, who I know is dinged up, or Guerrero. Yeah, you keep thinking they were trading him. They stayed.
I didn't say no. I didn't think that. I said last week to you guys on our buy or sell or fact or fiction, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, they're not trading Guerrero and Bichette. Now Bichette's hurt. Both of those guys, I think, are 25. Why would they trade them? But when you look at their roster now, even though they smacked the Yankees last night, they're playing guys that really they have a lot of rookies in the lineup, and a lot of those guys are hitting like 220. They really changed their face of their team, somewhat like the Rays did. The Rays sent a lot of guys out, basically waving the flag and saying they were going to retool for next year. And Toronto will be back. That's why they kept Guerrero and Bichette. They're not trading them in the offseason either. They're the cornerstones of that squad. But the Yankees, they didn't go for Flaherty, who the Dodgers took, because they said medical reasons. They didn't trust the medical reports, so they didn't go for him. There was a rumor Blake Snell was going to be on the trading block, but I think he missed the start right before the deadline, which probably made a lot of people say, nah, because he's had a little bit of a rough time earlier in the year. Now last couple outings, he's done really well. So, yeah, I think Baltimore, in essence, will stay in first place. I will also say this. You made one good statement, one bad statement. National League West Division is not the best division in baseball. You fell on your head. But I think Arizona, when this season gets down to the last week of the season, Arizona will be in contention either as a definite wild card or they're going to be breathing down the Dodgers' neck. Now, the Dodgers did some work, brought in Flaherty. They did some work at the trade deadline. But I sometimes don't understand the Dodgers' struggles with what they have. So your Diamondbacks will be there in the end. Okay. And I'm hoping it's a Yankee D-back World Series.
Oh, we love that. Run it back from 2001. That'd be beautiful.
We can have Louis Gonzalez throw out the first pitch.
Yeah. It won't be Byung-Hyun Kim, that's for sure. Let's take a time out. We've got a special guest coming up with us. He's the head football coach in his second season at the helm. That's Tyler Noe with us here to talk about the Falcons. That's going to be coming your way right after we hear from a couple of sponsors that make it possible for us to bring you 757 Saturday Sports Talk each and every week right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll be with you in just a moment.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Why are koalas not considered bears? Because they don't have the right qualifications.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV. We have a special guest with us. He is the head football coach in his second year at the helm of the Frank W. Cox Falcons in Virginia Beach, getting ready for that season opener against the Lansdowne Eagles later this month. He is none other than Tyler Noe. Coach, good to have you on the program. How's the summer been treating you and your family?
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been treating us well. Being down to Hatteras like we do every year for a week after our dead period, so that was good. A little 2-week hiatus from football, but it's a little different when you're the head man and you got to really think about things the whole time you're down there. But it's good and relaxing down there. My mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law, 2 nieces and nephews, my wife went down there. So it's always good to just go down there and relax a little bit before we get back into the thick of things up here.
Okay, good to hear. Well, and we'll get into your background, too. For those that aren't familiar with you, we know for many years you've been an assistant coach there at Cox High School with Coach Stack, and then at Coach Alan Faneca, Pro Football Hall of Famer. And now you've taken over. Great first season. You guys had a lot of heart-stopping wins, the tough playoff loss to Kempsville. But for Coach Young that's not quite familiar with the background of Tyler Noe, what else is he doing besides football? Are you football 24/7, 365, or do you have other hobbies, interests, other sports that grab you as well?
Well, I grew up in Virginia Beach. I'm an avid fisherman. I've fished my whole life. It's funny because when my mom was telling me, years ago that when I was a baby, they put me in my high chair or my car seat and wedged it in between two seats in the boat. So, I've been on the water my whole life. I'm an avid Orioles fan, so I did not like your take on that, Coach Young, about the Yankees going to the World Series. Um, so grew up a Cal Ripken fan, Orioles fan my whole life. Watched baseball with my dad. He's a big Red Sox fan. But we go at it here and there throughout the season. But other than that, I teach special education at Cox. This is going to be my eighth year teaching, my 14th year coaching up at Cox.
All right, good to hear. There you go. Eddie's an O's fan, so he's hoping they can break your hearts and stomp on you come playoff time and get to the Fall Classic. Maybe play my D-backs instead of your Yanks. That'd be great.
I mean, I found it's a tough time being an Orioles fan. We had that one year, 2014, when we won the AL East, and now it's heading in the right direction. But I think they're headed skid right here. They got to get over the slump here. There might be something going on in the clubhouse, but they're going to get over it. Brendan Hyde's a great manager, and they got some good young talent there. They're gonna get over this. Yeah,
a lot of guys we've watched with the Tides, from the Hendersons and Rushmans to Mountcastles and so many more. Cowser's been a great story, and getting Corbin Burns to be the front man of that rotation has been vital for them, considering how it is with pitching nowadays. As Ed just shakes his head in disgust. What was even better though, Tyler, was when he had to go up there for that Sunday game in the heat, and you guys broke the hearts of the Yanks on that ninth inning. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Always a great time.
Yeah, great.
Okay, all right. First of all,
great time when the Yankees lose, especially to the Orioles.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Thanks for coming on, Tyler. You're another young dude that I got to learn. I got to learn all these young dudes. I said the Orioles it's the second best team in baseball. They're very good. I love watching the Orioles. They make great moves. I said they're going to win the division.
I did hear that.
I picked them at the beginning of the year to go to the World Series. I really did. Of course, I want my Yankees to go because I want to be able to knock this knucklehead, whichever way I got a point, to beat his Diamondbacks, who were once the best AAA team in baseball, and now they are fighting for that playoff spot. And he says one of the best divisions in baseball. See, this is why he's in the water too damn much, because he's getting brain waterlogged. But yes, I do like the Orioles
over there.
I won't say a lot of negative about the Orioles. And more than likely, they'll probably have a better shot at World Series than my Yankees. But I'm still hoping and praying. And I'm going to get back to watch now I can go root for the Orioles whoever they play. I like to go back and watch another game or two during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to see when they play with the Yankees, sit on the Yankees side, but I don't root against the Orioles. But some of them Yankee fans are absolutely ruthless.
Ruthless.
Yeah, they're crazy. But Tyler, before we get into the match, we get back to you on a couple other things. I also, not knowing you, let's go back to your high school days. Where were you at in high school? Did you play college, and then your early coaching opportunities right up until where you're at now?
So I went to Cox. I graduated in 2006. I played baseball and football at Cox, and I went to James Madison University. I didn't play football. I didn't play any sports. I just wanted to be a student. And then when I graduated from JMU, I was working at Bayville Golf Course. I drove by the football fields one day, and I've always wanted to get into coaching or get back into sports one way or another. I've been playing since I was 4 years old. And I went up to the field. The football team was practicing. I walked over. Coach Stack was out there, and so they needed some help with the JV level. So I started out as a JV offensive coordinator. Really found my love for the game then. The next year I got promoted to JV head coach. I was JV head coach for 2 years. We went 11-1 in the 2 years that I was the head JV coach. And then that following year, it was Cole Johnson's junior year. That's how I keep it all going. Cole Johnson's junior year, I got brought up to varsity to be the quarterbacks coach and special teams coordinator, and that's where I've been ever since. Well, I was the offensive coordinator for Allen for a year, his last year, and then got promoted to the head coach the following year.
Some pretty good stuff there as we talk with Tyler Noe, head football coach at the Cox Falcons, and looking over your squad for this year and the info we got back from our surveys. We appreciate that from you. You did graduate a monster piece for you in Gerard Johnson, who's now at Virginia Tech. I'm sure he'll be sorely missed, but you return a lot of components, both sides of the football, coach. We can start, I guess, with the offensive side of what you're looking for this year. And it feels like that continuity, that chemistry you have on the field, you guys as a coaching staff, and being in so many tight games can benefit you for this coming year. Do you feel that way as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gerard, it's a big, tough loss for us. And then another one big for us is Gage Treffry, our quarterback, 2-year starting quarterback. He was just picking up the triple option towards the end of the season when we switched it after our Tallwood game. But we have great returners. We have Tyree Jeffries coming back, our starting running back, who was a freshman last year for us. Gio Simmons played slot for us. Carter Rodriguez played slot for us. Hudson Bartley, Lyman, did started 3. This is going to be his 3rd year starting. Hudson Lyon, our left guard, started for us. We have a couple young guys. We have a young sophomore lineman, Isaac Tomas, who we expect big things out of. And we have some good receivers. And Sear McCarter, he's going to play both ways for us. Bray Lyons, he's going to be really our tight end, sniffer back. Then he's going to be defensive end. He's going to pick up right where Gerard left off last year for us, which we expect huge things out of Bray. And then our quarterback position, we got two guys that can really play the quarterback spot. So that's going to be what we're going to look at heavily in the camp, and then our 2 scrimmages, and then leading up to Lansdowne. Like I told them and the coaching staff, we might not make a decision on quarterback till the week of Lansdowne game, just because they both have great parts. They're both athletic. They can, they both have their different quarterback styles. But if we can really get those 2 working, I think that we're going to have some great things with this offense this year.
Well, and to follow up on that, I'll let Coach Young jump back in here with that triple option. I saw you guys late in the season, that game against Killam, where you guys ran the ball at will, and you had 2 backs that really started for you late. Josh Walton, I know, was one, and then Tyree Jefferson, you mentioned as a freshman, ran for about 600 yards, I think it was, 5-6 TDs. Just do you feel like the confidence in having that in sync with the running game, the linemen as well blocking for it, that you don't see it as much anymore? It's funny, we talk about all these spread offenses. You see all these things now, people going 4 or 5 wide. You don't see as much wing T triple option, and that's something that it's so hard to prepare for in a short week. And if teams haven't, repped it as much, it's going to work to your advantage in a game where you can wear people down.
Yeah, so we ran it when I was on staff with Coach Stack. We ran triple option, and our biggest thing, we tell our kids all the time, we're not going to be the biggest guys out there. We're not going to be the most athletic teams who play on the beach, but we know that. So run triple option lets us have our smaller linemen, and we leave 2 guys alone. So then it's 11 on 9. The offensive line coach, Wayne Wallace and John Camper, they're back together. They've been line coaches at Cox for a while, and we got it humming with the line. And that's what it's all about, is offensive line, high school level, college, pros. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to do much of anything, run game or pass game. But like you said, our 2 back situation last year with Josh and Tyree, Josh ran for, I think, 245. I think you told me that after that game. He needed 10 more yards. If I would have known that, I would have kept him in to get 10 more yards to be the all-time leading rusher at Cox in a single season or a single game. But we got Tyree Jeffries. We got Jawan Mack, who plays linebacker for us too. But we also have a couple guys that we're looking at that can fill some downs if both of them are a little beat up or tired for running triple option so much. But triple option, it's just like you said, nobody runs it around here. We've been the only school, I think, over the past decade or so that's run it. And the coaching staff, we know like the back of our hands. When we switched to it after the Tallwood game last year, it re-energized the coaching staff and the kids. We weren't productive at all last year, offensive wise, before we switched over to triple option. We just didn't have an identity. I was trying to bring over stuff that we had from the guys the year before when I was offensive coordinator. But when we switched back to triple option, it really made us, it saved our season, I would say. And I think it's going to keep on going from here.
We're talking with Tyler Noe. He's the head football coach of the Cox Falcons. Season opener just 26 days away for them as they take on the Lansdowne Eagles at 7:57 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also comment with us, chime in wherever you are tuning in here all over the web, Ed.
Tyler, I'm really interested to listen to your take on your triple option. I've seen a lot of the college teams run it back in the old Southwest Conference. A lot of teams would run that. Oklahoma, Texas, all those teams back in the day ran it. And you say you don't see it much on the high school level. Is it the fact that it's just hard to teach, hard for players to comprehend? And again, I'm a basketball coach talking football. And by the way, I think you remember I helped Stack win one game.
Oh, here he goes.
When you guys were 4th and 1, and he ran the end around play. Remember that from young. I told him not to give me no credit. I don't want no credit.
He's also the reason you probably got chewed out 3 or 4 times from Stack. So yeah, blame him as much as you credit him. So
Well,
We
it
go,
just takes the
we
one. You
go,
don't
we
have
go
to
more
use
than
it.
3 or 4 times, but I love
Yeah,
Coach Stack to death. But
yeah. Stack going to fuss you out even if you win, so it doesn't matter.
yes, he is.
Right. It doesn't matter. But no, in all seriousness, I would think, this is me, again, basketball coach talking, and you made a great point. If you don't have a line in any level, especially high school, you forget almost anything. You just go play defense because you're going to be on it most of the night. I would think the triple option for linemen would be hardest because there's a lot of movement, and who do you hit in that movement scheme? Because on the triple option, either the quarterback is keeping it, or he's pitching it, or he's throwing it. So those options for the linemen could be tough to read because while they're moving, they got to be hitting people. Go a little bit more in depth and learn me a little bit more about that triple option.
So, if we run triple option, we leave 2 guys alone. We leave our run key alone and our pitch key alone. So the linemen know who not to block. That's the key right there. Is they not got to know who they're not blocking. So there's a lot of double teams that turn into, when we come off, we go to the backer, but they know who they have it every time. That's Coach Wallace and Coach Camper really hammer home on that. But the biggest thing is knowing who we're reading, because there's nothing that gets me more teed off than when we block the guy that we're supposed to read. You can ask some of our linemen from last year when we first put it in. They kept blocking the read key. They just didn't play. If they block our read key, they're not going to play. But that's the key thing right there, is knowing who we're reading every play and who we're leaving alone, because we're always leaving 2 alone. So it's always 11 on 9. So we're always double teaming at least 2 people. And I say that we're like, not many high school teams run triple option because it's hard for some of the kids to buy in. Everything's more spread around. I love the pass ball. I played quarterback, but I know what we have at Cox High School and what we have to do. And the key is having our slots and receivers buy in. And we have a former player, Jake Wallace, who's coaching our slots and receivers right now, who is the all-time leading receiver at Cox history in a single season and career, I believe it is. But he bought in, just like he's teaching these guys to buy in. If they don't buy in and block, they're not going to throw the ball to them. It's just as simple as that. And they know that. And that's our key thing, is blocking on the perimeter. If we can't block the perimeter, what's the point of throwing the ball? We're going to have to run the ball if we can't block the perimeter. So they know getting out there and staying on their guy and helping our backs, quarterbacks, or slots, the pitch read, getting out there and making some big plays. They know that they'll get recognized and get the ball to them. I try to make a point to watch that during the games, and it's the heat of the moment thing. But if I see someone blocking their butts off out there, I'm going to try to get the ball to them right away, reward them.
Well, so we're talking with Tyler Noe. He's the head football coach of the Cox Falcons. They take on Lansetown to open up the season last year, having a pretty successful 8-2 campaign, including those tough wins by 5 over Bayside, 7 over Ocean Lake, 7 over Salem, 3 over Lansetown, 1 over Kempsville. He can scratch your lottery tickets off too, Ed. It's Tyler Noe with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Let's go to the defense. We talked about the offensive side of the ball, some of the key components. Who are some of the players we should watch out for defensively, be it at the line, the linebackers, and DBs?
Definitely want to look for Max Palmerton, our starting middle linebacker. It's going to be his 3rd year starting middle linebacker for us. He's a huge coach on the field. He knows what everybody's doing every single play. We're returning Barrett Glazer out there, cornerback Gio Simmons, Antoine Eaton. He was out hurt midway through the season last year towards ACL. He's back. He's going to be a huge factor for us back there. Rex Miller at safety, Jacob Palmerton at the other safety. And like I said earlier, Bray Lyons is going to be a force to be reckoned with out there, with opposite of Nasir McCarter, who's getting some looks at some Division III schools right now that really like him. But, our big thing is going to be depth on both sides with the line. We got a lot of guys going both ways, but that's just the nature of the beast at Cox. We don't have the luxury of having 11 on offense, 11 on defense. But in my opinion, and our D coordinator Brian Graham's opinion, and Eric Nichols' opinion, it keeps the guys engaged in the game. When you go both ways, sure, they're going to get tired, but that's on us to figure out which side of the ball we're going to give them a little rest on. And that's that's a feel too, a coach's feel. If we see that they're really pinning their ears back and going to it on defense, we'll give them a breather on offense so that we know that they're big help on defense that game. But otherwise, our defense, Jawan Mack, our outside linebacker, he's going to be a junior. He really opened some eyes last year. He's probably one of the fastest kids on our team at outside linebacker. He can cover, he can hit. He's not afraid of anything over there. And we got a couple kids coming up from JV who are going to help us at the defensive back position as well. But our linebacker and our front seven is really hopefully going to propel us this year on defense.
Well put. And Ed Cox, if you're looking at them historically, they have not finished under the 500 mark since 2007. It is the longest streak of any school in the entire Beach District.
See, it's like a no-hitter. Why are we going to talk about that, man?
I know. Well, listen, Blake Snell was getting nervous last night when that ball got hit in the ninth inning. He was getting nervous. And there you go. Joe Jones, former Ocean Lakes and Kings Fort coach, chiming in about the triple option, giving you a shout out there. Go ahead, Ed.
No, I was just going to say, be careful, Tyler, because this knucklehead here has jinxed so many coaches over the years. So I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to say nothing about your record either, but
listen, I did that to him when he played green run in the game at Scope. I said, I turned to a guy. I said, this is the one where the late great Ashley James hit that shot from half court that sent Green Run Estates and Ed team home. I said, 19 of 19 from the it was an amazing shot. Nansemond River's 19 of 19 from the foul line, and then Ed gave me a stare as soon as I said it. And I wasn't the one that was guarding the kid from half court, so hey,
Yeah, he's known as the walking, talking human jinx. So right. I do like your chances. The curse is real. Jack knows the curse is real from Hatfield. And I like your opening part of the schedule. I'm going to do this as a talking head. So
he's getting ready to jinx you now. Here you go with a 7-0, 8-0 start, something crazy. Here we go.
No, let's not do that.
I think when they go into Green Run, 2 unbeaten teams are going to play that 4th week. Okay, now I'll get that out of the way because I don't want to be considered the young jinx when I'm usually the guy that helps.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, though, Tyler, Matt and I, when we always talk to these you guys, we talk offense, defense, we really get into it. And then sometimes we forget special teams. Yeah. I got to hear your philosophy on special teams. I think I know what I'm going to hear from you because you kind of mentioned it. You don't have the luxury of a lot of gifted athletic players. What I've always known college football over the years is nobody outthinks you, outsmarts you, outplays you because you guys are in every single ball game. The record Matt just gave indicates that. What philosophy on special team, and I'll lead into it with this. I always think this is why I don't coach football. I'm going to play a lot of guys on special team, get them involved, whatever. But I've had football coaches look at me and say, well, that's why you're an idiot. You have to have your best kids on the field all the time, and especially in special teams because can win you and lose your game in special team. Your philosophy on special teams and how you run it there at Cox.
Yeah, so I was special teams coordinator under Coach Stack for 8 seasons, so I'm really huge on special teams. To me, that's the most fun part about coaching. That's a huge chess match. I used to watch hours of film on special teams so I could get the advantage on people because, like you said, you can win and lose games on special teams. Take us our playoff game last year. I mean, we lost a blocked field goal. Did they return back for a touchdown? So special teams is it's 1/3 of the game. That's why I appreciate our kids all the time. I was just talking to them last week about that, actually, that when I was special teams coordinator, we lost 1 game because of special teams, and I swore to myself I would never let it happen again. We take pride in special teams. Our special teams coordinator, Brandon Smith, knows he's been on the staff for a while, so he knows what my expectation of special teams is. And like you said, you got to get your best athletes out there on special teams, but you also got to fluctuate it with, we have a lot of young guys that can be special teams players to give those starters a breather. And like I tell the JV kids, the younger kids, that juniors that aren't starting offense or defense, that's the best way to get on the field. You go out there at practice and you perform on special teams or scout team, and we see that you want to go down there and hit somebody and you're fast, then we're going to put you on kickoff team to go down there and fly down and get the ball. But kickoff is the big thing, especially in high school. You don't have many kickers like we did last year in Sam Braidwood. They can put the ball in the end zone 59% of the time or whatever it was. So that's when you got to get creative. You got to mortar kick. You got to squib it. You got to put your players in the best position that you possibly can so that there's no kickoff returns. Nothing will break down the team more in high school than a kickoff return for a touchdown. And I've seen it firsthand. I've seen us do it in teams. I've seen it happen to us. And that, special teams is just, it's a big component that I don't think many coaches at the high school level really look at. Now I could be wrong on that because I did it for 8 years. I knew how much film I watched and how much heart and effort I put into it. But, our philosophy at Cox is special teams is 1/3 of the game, and we can't take any plays off because, like I said earlier, we're not gonna out athlete teams. We're not gonna be bigger than teams. So it's all, we got to be 100% on all night, or we're gonna struggle.
Well, Coach, we thank you so much for coming on the program. All the best to you this coming season, and I'll take off the Diamondbacks, World Series appearance hat and put on. Coach gave me this a few years ago, Coach Stack, the Cox Falcons hat. I'll rep the Cox Falcons for you and wish you all the best, and hopefully the Ed Young.
I get you another hat too when you come around if you want.
Yeah, this is a little old.
That's a little old.
2008ish, but I'll give you a shout out there. I'll wear I'll root for you on the picks when I pick you. Definitely. Ed's going to pick against you.
Us on our pick. You picked against us in the playoff game. Don't think I forgot about that one.
See that? I told you.
Yep.
Good job, Tyler.
Hey,
see that?
It's all right.
I picked you. And this knucklehead said, I don't think you're going to be able to get
he picked you and you lost, so that's what happened. I mean, you don't want Ed picking you. So
I want to give a little credit to Coach Cherry on that play. I mean, they played a heck of a football game. It was hard to beat a team two times in a season, especially 2 weeks in a row. We just came back and they put a heck of a football game plan against us, and he's doing a great job over there at Kingsville, and nothing but respect for him over there. And we had a long conversation after that game on the phone after. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he really is. Well, all the best to you. We'll look forward to seeing you guys this coming season, and we'll keep in touch. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and go Orioles. There you go. That's Tyler Noe with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We thank him for joining us here. I think for some reason maybe his phone might go out there at the end, but we appreciate him coming on with us.
He knew I was going to say, Tyler, you got to put it in 4th and goal. He said,
he knew it was coming. He knew it was coming.
He got out of here.
But we appreciate him stopping by. It was, and they're going to be good again, Ed. That they should be a factor in the beach that has a lot of teams contending. As far as playoffs go for Region 5A, everybody in Region 5A for the Beach District, with the exception of Lansetown, who's in Region 6A, who is their first opponent coming up here at the end of the month. So that's one to circle for folks across the Beach District. We'll be giving you our preview show coming up here later on this month. We did an expanded preview last month. Oh, I think we have Coach to say goodbye to us. We sorry about that, Coach. We were just saying thank you for coming on, and all the best to you guys this coming season, and we'll keep in touch. All right, Coach, we'll take care now. We thank you for coming on with us. Tyler Noe with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. But, Ed, it should be an interesting season for them, as they have a lot of key pieces back, as we touched on with him. And, everybody is running for Green Run, or I should say gunning for Green Run, because they have had 3 straight undefeated regular seasons in the Beach District, and did not make it to the state playoffs a season ago, fell to Indian River in the region championship. But Brandon Williams' team will be loaded for bear, as they say, and a hard team to deal with for everybody, be it whether it's the Falcons, the Chiefs, the Marlins, the Patriots, the Knights, you name them. They're the team people are circling. But you never know. Any given Friday night, as they say, any given Sunday in NFL, let the chips fall where they may. They could be taken down. But I think the district favorites, you might disagree with me, are pretty much consensus across 3 of the 5, maybe 4 of the 5 districts in the area for public school. I think Green Run's the consensus Beach favorite. Maury's the consensus Eastern District favorite. The Peninsula favorite is Phoebus off 3 consecutive state championships. Bay River's favorite should be Lafayette, though they fell to War Hill last year. War Hill had a senior-heavy group, and Lafayette made the Class 3 state championship. Southeastern District is where it might be a little bit more up for grabs as far as the favorites. I think you look at 3 teams in particular: Oscar Smith, Kings Fork, Indian River, as far as the favorites go, and then after that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you in those assessments. I think Southeastern District's a little bit more wide open, where on any given night anybody is going to win that. But Beach, I agree. I think Green Run. That's why you look at Cox's schedule, as Tyler was talking, and the thing about them, they're always in almost every game, and they very rarely get blown out. So they're going to have a chance to win games. When I look at that schedule, because of that, I think they could be 3-0 going into the Green Run game. I think they could be. And then, they could get tripped up later on down the road. They have to execute. Everybody has to really execute. But with that triple option, they really got to be precise with it, because I still think it's tough to run. It's a tough buy-in. But they run it well. And as you see, nobody else really wants to do it. So I could see that. But you're right. I think Phoebus in the we're going to talk more about it later, but Phoebus, sure. The biggest thing is with so many different teams, like in different regions, 3, 4, 5, we kind of not think about district leader, district champion. We do more so in football than any of the other ones because it's so short of games. But I just think you were right in terms of like Phoebus taking that. And the Bay Rivers could be a little interesting. Lafayette should be the favorite. But then again, War Hill, of course, they did graduate a lot. But, they smelled that, what it's like to be top dog. So
they do.
Kids coming back want to keep that going. They certainly will.
No, I don't discount what Jerome Rhodes and his staff can put together, and with the kids that were in that winning culture a season ago to be a factor in Region 4A. But it's pretty clear that Phoebus is the team to beat in Class 4 with what they have back, considering the young man that threw the touchdown pass was a freshman, and Maricus Banks, who launched that TD on the final play of the state finals against the Salem Spartans. So again, that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. I know next week's show will probably not, I don't know if we'll be live or not. It might be live in the afternoon or evening. It won't be our typical time because you will be in another state. I don't know if you can divulge which state that is, but we'll just say Ed's going to take a bite out of the Big Apple. While I will be, you see what I did there? I will be in the 804, most likely at a scrimmage involving a 7-5-7 team that's a title contender, an 804 team in the morning time of our hours. But you never know, through the magic of technology be on for you all to watch in your normal time frame. And you can always, with all of our shows, whether we're live or not, you can always go back and watch them, archive. The great thing about the internet and advantages we have sometimes over from we used to have previously with radio, people say, oh, we missed such and such. Well, it's always right there at your fingertips. You just hit that subscribe button with Cova Sports TV, pull up the playlists. And now we have the playlists, I believe, sorted from episodes as far as the newest to oldest. And we didn't have it in order, but I think we went back to the day and we sorted them. So if you missed a certain date, you want to go back to when so-and-so was on, and it's always in our description of who we have on the show, you can go check it out right there and punch it up, and then it's voila, right there for you. Ed does it every day, don't you? You watch it.
I do it not every day, probably about every 4 days.
Okay.
I go back and see the mistakes you've made, and then call you out on the jinxing of others. And plus, I'm working with the Secret Service about your pool shenanigans, and we're building a case against you. So I got to go back and get all those, the jokes and stuff the scary stuff you're doing for the children of our illustrious area.
I'm not scaring the children. I'm inspiring the children.
You're scaring the kids.
Wow.
A lot of kids I've heard do not want to go in the pool. They'll go in the ocean, but they don't want to jump in the pool because they're afraid that he's there.
Man, Dan Malloy says hello.
Yeah, Dan even said Hatfield's the jinx. Dan even knows. Dan knows.
He said, who is the jinx? He didn't say Hatfield is the jinx. It's Jackson teleporting through the coffee table. I can do that, folks. I can do it. I can do it here in a few minutes. It's magic.
Yeah, he.
You want to hear it going though, real quick, Ed? I had my 7-year-old niece. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding about this. She actually just turned 8, I think. Noelle, give her a shout out. She wants to come on the podcast, and I said, no, not quite. You're not ready. She actually did a little magic trick where you take 2 cups, and then the one thing appears in the one cup, and I don't know how she did it. I'm telling you, she learned it from. I don't know who she learned it from, but she actually pulled off a magic trick, and I'm still, what do they say, stupefied, mystified? I don't know how she pulled it off.
Yeah, stupefied would describe you more so than mystified.
I don't know how she pulled it off. Do you have an answer for how she made it happen? Well, you haven't seen it. I can have to video it for you and send it to you.
And I'm a big magic buff. I love magic. I try to do the magic. I can't do it. The only magic trick I finally learned after years of not hurting myself is I can extend my thumb without blood coming out.
Say what?
Oh, it's one of the oldest tricks in the book, but I didn't know when I first tried to do it, I would cut my thumb in blood, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. So, but I had a professional magician show me, and I can do it right now for the sake of the people.
You're not you're not coming near my thumb with any sharp objects. I'm not letting you test that out on me.
I'm going to do mine, but I don't want. We better put what do they call it?
Disclaimer. Yeah, don't do it on the show.
Disclaimer. Anybody gets sick by this or tries it and gets
successfully, yeah. We don't want to see you bleed to death on the air. That was nothing.
Bad. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
There's a way you got to warm your thumb up to do it.
Don't do it. Please don't do it. We don't.
No, it won't hurt. I'm going to do this for the sake of some of the people that watch our show and say we don't give them anything good. Now.
Give them anything good. If you bleed in the middle of this segment, I'm going to be interviewing Harry Minium solo. So go ahead.
No, well, I don't think I am. If I can get it done the right way.
You don't think. That wasn't a real confident answer.
Yeah, I've got to hold it. Okay, ready. Don't say nothing. 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 Don't say Okay. Back on. No blood anywhere. The way you can do it. It hurts a little bit, but you can do it. So that's my magic trick.
Okay.
Yep. I learned it from Chris Angle, the great one in Vegas.
All right.
Chris Angle. Yeah, he's the best. He is best. He is the best. He's the best. And I've seen his show probably 5 times, and I would look forward to number 6.
Well, our first hour magically has disappeared. Our second hour is now about to begin after we hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube as Eb's given the thumbs up, thankfully.
Yep, my thumb is okay. So
we're going to talk with Tracey Parker. We're going to talk with Tracey Parker of the Smithfield Packers coming up in a little bit, but we are scheduled to be joined next by the man that gives you all the updates when it comes to ODU athletics, football, basketball, and so much more. You can find his work at odusports.com. We're talking about Harry Minium. That's coming up here in just a bit on Cova Sports TV. Again, like, share, and subscribe to that. We're also going to be catching up, as you see it scrolling across our ticker, with Stephen Diesel Whitley. We hope sometime for next week's show, because he is doing an event at Churchland High School next week. In fact, Sunday, August the 11th, that features a lot of local talent, former area standouts who are now playing professionally, and some of the bigger names. I know Cat Barber's supposed to be there, Joe Bryant, among others. Dontrell Bright, I see, is listed as one of the players that played for you and that. So we're hoping to catch up with Diesel, who's been eagerly looking forward to coming on with us to discuss that. He couldn't do today because they had their elite camp for NSU today, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to catch up with Diesel before that comes your way in 8 days. But again, right now, we're going to take a time out, hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do this with you each and every week on Cova Sports TV. And that includes Vault and the Drip Bar. We'll be back shortly.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar, IV hydration and vitamin therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we'll be back at 7 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe here wherever you may be tuning in. We thank you for doing so. And we have a special guest with us. He is the esteemed columnist for odusports.com. You've been reading him for many years in the Virginia Pilot. Now he's giving you great wall-to-wall coverage of everything ODU athletics. Our good friend Harry Minium. Harry, good to see you. How's the summer treating you? And I understand you were out of the country for a little bit, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, if you can notice behind me some German flags there.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend down in Berlin, Germany, and so I visited her for 3 weeks this summer. So long distance relationship. She's coming to an ODU football game this fall. So
awesome.
Yeah, I love my time there, but I missed being here. So
Awesome. We got to get Ed some ODU swag. I've got my ODU on today. You got your ODU on today. And I want to get Ed out for a big game here at SB Ballard Cornblau Field this year, Harry, because the Monarchs, we had Phil Steele on the show a few weeks ago. And, they tend to be, he even said it, when Ricky Ronnie's team is slept on, that's when they do the most. They surprise some folks, and you got a chance to watch them in the spring game, as I know you did. Quarterback continuity with Grant Wilson, so some key parts back. And while there's always some new faces, which is the way college sports is, it feels like, from speaking with the coaching staff, I know you know this too, and Phil's even said it, there's better depth than they've had in recent years. Do you get that sense?
Yes, that's the main difference between this team and last year's team. And I think where that could make a big difference is on special teams. If you remember 2 years ago, they blocked a ton of kicks, and that turned games around. This past season, they just didn't have the depth to play a lot of their starters on special teams. And their special teams are good. Their special teams coach, Kevin's a great coach. They played well. They didn't block a lot of kicks. This year, they think they can do that. Their depth at quarterback is the best since Ricky Ronnie's been here, and maybe the best since I've been covering them. Grant, of course, he's a great starter, and he started all last season. He knows the offense. But Colton Joseph, backup, I think he's probably the backup quarterback now. He's a true freshman from California. The guy's got a great arm. They've got a transfer, Emmett Moorhead from Boston College, who started much of the season 2 years ago and is a big guy. So they've got three quarterbacks who can play, and that hasn't been the case. And I think that's really going to help them.
I'll let Ed jump here in a second. We want to get on to the health about Jason Henderson at linebacker and some other parts of this team and the outlook for them, the tough schedule they've got out of the gate. But you were at Sunbelt Media Days down there in New Orleans. Sometimes when you get coaches and Ed's like this in basketball, they keep their cards close to the vest, as you well know, Harry. Did you learn anything that you didn't know coming in, be it on the ODU side of things or other teams around the entire Sunbelt League? What did you take away? What were kind of your takeaways from the whole media extravaganza?
Well, I stuck with ODU most of the time. You don't want to miss an interview because, someone may say something that you want to use. But, what you mentioned earlier, the confidence of the coaches. Ricky is, Ricky's a very humble guy, and he doesn't brag. He's not one of these, he doesn't run down opponents. But when he feels like his team is going to be good, you can sense it from him. It's not what he says, but how he says it. I think he thinks his team has the potential to be good. Now, the big question mark here is you've got, I think, 57 newcomers, 28 of them transfers from other schools. Most of those 28 were not here for spring practice. Vast majority, the freshmen weren't here either. So, how do you mold that? All these newcomers in with the old guys. You have 31 days to do it, not 31 days of practice, but just 31 days. And so it's really, as Ricky says, it's hard to tell anything for sure about any team in the country this year, during these times, because of the transfer portal and NIL. Teams just, they undergo so much change.
Yeah, they really do. We're talking with Harry Minium, senior executive writer for Old Dominion University. You can find his work on ODUsports.com. Also, you can give Harry a follow on Twitter, or now known as X, at Harry_Minium ODU at 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Ed.
Well, Harry, thanks for coming on. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on here with all your vast experience and things you have done here, and great stuff throughout the years with the Old Dominion situation. And I look at, I always like to separate the colleges, the big boys. We know the Texas, the Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama's, and we have a lot of the rest. A lot of the rest, the problem is with this portal thing is guys jump in it so quick when they're at the smaller level. They think success means I go in now and I go back to the big boys where I should have been recruited to begin with. So it seems now the key in college and basketball recruiting is you've got to be able to recruit the portal. And then you've got to find some crazy way. I guess that way is NIL money, but that's not always the answer. Old Dominion does not have NIL money like Alabama. Let's just call it what it is. As you go through all this stuff with yourself and on your experience and whatever, how do you look at that situation, covering one of the smaller teams and Ricky's busting his butt like crazy to keep that program going, knows his stuff. He came from one of the big boys, Penn State. Yeah. How do you look at all that in terms of success at an Old Dominion?
Well, I guess I have to be honest here, don't I? Ed, by the way, I went to Norview, so we both have Norview ties.
Oh. I like that. I like that. You know, I didn't know that about you. Had I known that about you back in the day, you would have been welcome to sit on that bench. I would have let you do the Maureen Booker T games. I'll go scouting.
No, I was long before your time coaching. I'm a lot older than you, but
no, you still can do the job though.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean you know, let's face it. The truth is that Old Dominion is going to lose kids to the portal because other schools, you know, they have money to offer. And I've talked to, and I don't want to mention any names. I've talked to a number of kids, including one who transferred this past season, who immediately regretted what they've done. And, you know, by the time you get there and you've accepted money, it's too late to go back. You look at Santana Saunders and Jason Henderson. You know, Jason Henderson, maybe the best linebacker in the country, maybe the best defensive player in the country. I don't know what he's got in the way of an NIL deal. I haven't asked. I'm not allowed to write about NIL, so I don't know. But I know he could have had a lot of money at other places. And he told me, he says, why leave? I'm happy here. I love the fans here. We play a great schedule here. Pro scouts see me here. I'm happy here. Why leave? Santana Saunders, mammoth human being, could have gone to a lot of places and made money. He said the same thing. You know, why would I leave Ricky Ronnie? I love Ricky. I don't know about these other coaches. So I think a lot of these kids, they see the grass is greener. They're young kids. They're so immature. You know, 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old boys are just immature. We were boys. We were 18, 19. We were terribly immature.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes they let the green, not the grass, but the money, lead them astray. I think in a lot of instances, guys who left Old Dominion wish they had not. And I'm talking about some big names who left here who I've talked to. So as far as the NIL and transfer portal, I understand why it happened. I understand all the legal reasons for it. I just wish there wasn't unlimited transfers. I mean, where you can leave every year. That just, to me, that's not right. It's not fair to the institutions that invest money into these kids. Invest money and invest time. So,
and pretty cool. I think both you guys will agree to see in the magazines like we got with Phil's. We had him on a few weeks ago. Jason Henderson's name in bold print coming back with 170 tackles from a season ago, because you generally don't see that these days with a player of that caliber returning, Ed.
Well, it is. And for someone like Jason to stay, who could easily went and been very good, bigger school, that doesn't happen much nowadays. It's, you know, talking to some coaches on the basketball side, and they're saying like one of the first things parents talk about in recruiting at the high school level, which has been dummied down some because they're going to go in the portal, is what kind of money can my kid make at your place? It used to be playing time. Y'all going to take care of him academically? Now it's what kind of money can my kid make? And if you're like, so-and-so's offered us this kind of money. So it comes down to the dollar. And I can't for the life of me understand, and I know what they keep saying. NCAA, what are you doing? Well, our hands are tied. If we go back to what we used to do, we're going to court. My attitude, go to court, whatever. You've got to put some kind of reins on this craziness, because the big boys are still the big boys. That doesn't work like it's making everybody equal. No, it isn't. Because a lot of the smaller schools are become farm clubs for the bigger teams, because these kids think, well, I made first team all Sun Belt. I got to go to the SEC now. That's just a mentality. Yeah,
the Old Dominion's lost a couple of basketball players who really regretted leaving, and I won't mention any names. They're good kids. They're great kids, and they just got stars in their eyes. Ed, I agree with you. I wish the NIL and transfer portal didn't exist. The transfer portal, I think, is good. I think if a kid's unhappy, he should be able to leave at least once without being penalized. You know, you go to a school, you don't like the coach, you're not going to play. You shouldn't have to sit out a year. But the NIL, the fact is that the federal government, Congress, is going to have to come in and legislate something, because it's clear that the previous NCAA's setup just wasn't legal, according to judges. So what are you going to do? You know, you're going to go to court and lose. So Yeah, I share your angst with the system, but Mike Jones, basketball coach, Delisha Milton Jones, they both put together really good recruiting years. They've adjusted to the situation. Ricky's adjusted. I mean, this means, recruiting is now 365 days a year because, kids can basically, tell you they're leaving at any time. And, it makes life harder. But I think Old Dominion has adjusted as well as they can. I don't know a lot about ODU's NIL program. I do know that they're very active and they've been helpful to the coaches. And ODU can't compete with the SEC and ACC on that level. But here's the thing that the ACC and SEC sometimes can't offer, and that's first thing is early playing time. You get the chance. You might go to, let's say you go to Virginia Tech, you play as a junior. At ODU, you play as a freshman and sophomore. By the time you're a junior, you're an experienced player, and pro scouts are seeing you because you're playing South Carolina, Indiana, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, all these schools. You're playing against great competition. So, and I know that ODU coaches, that this is what they preach. You can come here and you can get to the NFL. You can get to the NBA. That's proven. We've got, I think, 5 guys in the NFL right now, which is pretty amazing. So, Old Dominion is playing against the big guys. They sometimes beat them. They've beaten Virginia Tech here twice at Ballard Stadium, and there's another chance coming up September 14th. And by the way, get your season tickets because that game is going to sell out, I think, before season tickets. I think while season tickets are still on sale.
Yeah, I want to get to you with that, Harry, before Ed gets with you on the schedule and we finish up. Harry Minium from ODUsports.com with us. You had a neat piece up there about people might just want to get that Tech game, but it's probably a better bang for your buck if you get season tickets, if you look at it from a value perspective, than just trying to get that one game, which might be a higher rate by kickoff time than it is getting the whole package, right?
Yeah, I went on there. There are 5 or 6 ticket resellers. We used to call them scalpers. We don't call them scalpers anymore because I guess that's not that's not correct language these days, but they are scalpers. I mean, they get tickets for a price and they sell them for a profit. And, you can find tickets for the Tech game now. I think like $160 or $170 for not great seats, but for the most part, they're the $200 to $400 to $500 range. Okay. So you get 2 tickets for $200, to the Tech game. Great. You've got tickets to one game. If you get an ODU season ticket for $200, the same amount of money, you're getting 6 games. ODU plays East Carolina, JMU, Marshall, Texas State, Georgia Southern. Yeah, it's a great home schedule. One of them is a Thursday night game. Some of them are on national TV. It just makes more sense. If you're going to spend the same amount of money and get 6 tickets instead of 1, I mean, that should be a no-brainer, right? So anyway.
Makes sense.
And speaking of that schedule, Harry, when I look at it, tough sledding for Old Dominion right off the bat at South Carolina, East Carolina, Virginia Tech. Then we get in, obviously, into Sun Belt. Well, we got Bowling Green, too, I think, in there. Then we get into Sun Belt play.
Yeah.
What's it going to take in those first 4 games to get them really coming into the Sun Belt with a head of steam? And then how do you assess, you were at the Sun Belt Conference get together, how would you assess them as they do go into Sun Belt play?
Well, the first thing they have to do is say, they need to get through those. You want to get through non-conference play with as few injuries as possible. You don't want to lose a key player to an injury. That's the main thing. When they opened in South Carolina, let me backtrack a little bit. When I saw practice the first day, you look at the kids, first day of practice, you look at them to see if they're, strong. Are they muscular? Do they look fit? Old Dominion players look fit. It was a hot day, and they practiced with a lot of energy, and that's going to be very important because they open in Columbia, South Carolina at 4:15 in the afternoon. I'm not sure I've ever been to a hotter place on planet Earth than Columbia, South Carolina in late August. So that's going to be a tough chore for them. Then they got East Carolina. That's a team that plays on our level, a group of 5 team. We might be favored in that game. Who knows? And then there's Virginia Tech. Tech is, I think picked 5th or 6th in the ACC, potential top 25 team. They're very good. Obviously, they've got a better team than Old Dominion does, but they're coming to Old Dominion. That's going to be a high energy game. Then they have a week off, and then they go to play a very good Bowling Green team. You might not have heard much of Bowling Green, but they play in the Mid-American Conference. They went to a bowl game last year. They've got a great program. I don't want to speculate on what numbers they win. They need to win some of those early games, and then they go right into Sun Belt play. They're at Coastal Carolina and at Georgia State right away. 2 tough places to play, or it'll be hot, and then they're home against Texas State and Georgia Southern. And need I remind everyone, the Sun Belt is the best Group of 5 conference in the country. It's better than the American Athletic Association, the Mountain West, Conference USA, the Mid-American. It is the best football outside of the Power 4 conferences. So that's tough. I mean, the non-conference schedule is tough. The conference schedule is tough too. 2 non-conference games are Texas State and Arkansas State, and both went to bowls last year, and Texas State is a West Division favorite. So it's a very tough schedule.
It is my last one with you and let you go here, Harry. We thank you so much for coming on the program. Look forward to chatting with you during the season as well. And I saw the great note in the notes from the SID. Does a splendid job at ODU. Eric Bohannon, that ODU played 11 one-score games, going 6-5 in those games last year. The 11 one-score games are the most by any Division I school since D1 was formed in 1978. So if you like close games, edge of your seat, Monarchs football is for you. I've been telling people, two-part final question for me here, and I'll let Ed finish with you too here, Harry. I've been telling people my 2 breakout names I think for the Monarchs are Bryce Duke on offense at running back and Koa Nawatala, the linebacker from Woodside High on defense. Am I warm, cold, not so sure? And then to follow that up, do you have another breakout name or 2 potentially for the Monarchs this year people can look forward to see? I'm not going to talk about those 2 kids because I haven't seen much of either one of them, but I mean, you've got the kid. I think if he winds up playing, who could surprise is Colton Joseph. He's really a good quarterback. Now Grant is a starter, and I think Grant will probably start when the season begins. But I think it's going to make Grant better to have Colton behind him because Colton has just got a great arm. He's a smart kid, California kid. Gosh, a breakout. Well, one of the players that one of my favorite players of all time at ODU is Isaiah Page. He's about 2'4", wide receiver. He's been hurt a bunch, and he's finally healthy this year, really healthy. And I think you could see a breakout season from Isaiah. All right, there you have it. Well, it should be a lot of fun. Ed, any final thoughts or questions for Harry here as we let him roll?
Harry, I put you on the spot. You've done so much for so long. You've seen so much. Can you, right off the top of your head, a big memory from your past in the 757 era, whether it be an event, a player, a coach, and I know you've had many, and I know you're the type of guy, you're so respectful type guy that you don't want to miss anything, but off the top of your head, something that you saw that always comes to mind quick, you really enjoyed covering. Anything off the top of your head?
1982 or 83 Lake Taylor High School football team. That team, they started out the season 0-2-1. One of their players, a guy named Al Hatchett, was killed in a traffic accident in which his teammate was driving. And that team went on to win their last 7 games and go all the way to the state championship. And they had no talent. Everyone went 2 ways. There was just no talent on that team, and somehow they managed to get to the state championship game, where they got crushed by GW Danville. That's the most inspiring team I've ever seen. I think the greatest sports memory I have is I'm going to, 2018 Virginia Tech, 49-35. That was pretty magical. That's an ODU team that really underperformed. They finished 4-8, and they had several guys who went to the NFL. But that night they showed up, and I think they had more yardage against Virginia Tech than Virginia Tech had given up in like 22 years. And it was amazing to see an Old Dominion team pound Virginia Tech into submission. They beat them up physically. So that was an amazing game. So.
Yeah, as a 4-touchdown underdog to win that game the way they did after the first start of that season was remarkable. And to this day, people will never forget that. Well, he does an awesome job for ODUsports.com. Check out his work, Harry Minium. And I'm surprised you didn't pick in that top 3 there. Ed Young almost going blow to blow with Barry Hamler back in the day when he was at Norview, when it was at Booker TV. Because that might be out there for some people. As that was, I know in the paper, the coaches almost come to blows. And maybe one of your colleagues was that one. You might have missed that one. But
yeah, I missed that one. Yeah.
Well, always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and we'll see you soon on the gridiron.
Thank you, Ed and Matt. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Harry.
Take care.
As the one and only Harry Minium with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We're going to take a timeout and come back with more. We've got Tracey Parker from the Smithfield Packers coming your way on this first Saturday of August 2024. We'll be back after we hear from John's Tax Services, Chichos, and more right here on Cova Sports TV.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we're all over the web, Facebook, IG, everywhere, VirginiaPreps.com, and so much more. We are delighted to be joined by a special guest, not just the guy that I was dealing with wrestling last week, but he knows plenty of wrestling stories, basketball stories, having to share an office with this guy. He is in his second season at the helm of the Smithfield Packers as the head football coach. Tracey Parker, so kind to join us. Coach, how you been? Can you believe Ed dragged me out to wrestling last week? Unbelievable, right?
Well, that sounds like Ed. How are you guys doing, by the way? But that sounds like Ed.
We're doing well. He didn't drag you anything crazy in his day, did he, at Nansemond River?
No. He just would invite me. He wouldn't drag me along.
Okay.
Yeah, TP, it's great to see you. Number one, the bearded look is working, and yeah, this nut job here, I had to take him to the wrestling. I thought he would get us thrown out saying something to the wrestlers, but I was the one that was doing the yelling at the wrestlers. I was in character, as they call it. But how you been?
Been well. You've been well. I miss our talks. We probably need to give you a call more often, just so we can chat a little bit.
You're the younger dude now. You got to call the old guy. I just retired also, from the teaching part. And I don't know if you heard, but they told me hit the road for coaching. They didn't want me back coaching either. So I'm a free agent, and I would like to do some coaching, but the clock is ticking. So I don't know what is going on, but yeah, we miss you, man, at the river every day. I don't think a day goes by we don't mention the Tracey Parker story or Tracey Parker shenanigans at the river. And now you're gone, I'm gone, and things, it's life. Things change.
Right. Life changes. Miss you guys as well. I have a lot of Ed Young stories, and along with other.
Careful now. We got thousands and thousands of listeners.
Now's the time to tell him. Go ahead. He said about being in character, Coach. He's always in character, isn't he?
Especially at basketball games, right?
Oh yeah. Well, we're going to have our main point of having you on is to talk about the Packers and all the great things you're doing over there with shout out to our good friend too, the AD over there, Pat Doolin as well. But talk about your kids as well. But I got to know, since you brought it up, Ed Young, office days, how many times did his stuff get in the way of your stuff? Because his stuff is always getting in the way of my stuff. I can't deal with him half the time.
Well, we had the office kind of split in half. And, the great part about it is Ed kind of kept his stuff on his side. And then when he needed my side, I said, sure, Ed, come on
over. As everybody knows, I got stuff all over in my office.
Yes,
it ain't like here at the house.
Yeah.
At the school office, it was papers from 1928. And a lot of times when Tracey wasn't in the office, he had a class I did, and I'd be on his desk writing stuff down. And I would say, when he'd walk in, I'd say, man, it's too much mess over there, Tracey. Give me 5 more minutes on the thing. And then, Tracey would look and say, it'd be a lot easier if you cleaned the damn desk once in a while. You could do some stuff over there.
Truer words haven't been spoken.
That's what friends do, right?
That's right. That's what friends do. Well, Coach, let's talk about what's going on over there at Smithfield High School. I got a chance to get a peek at you guys back in the spring. Haven't seen you guys in depth, but now is this your second full season or third season at the helm there?
Third full season. I took the job over in June 3 years ago. So,
okay.
Third full, but second full season.
Okay. Tell us what's different about you now. We always hear it in sports, whether it be pro, college, high school. Year 3 is kind of the year where you got your fingerprints, your guys, your system, what you wanted to implement into the kids. What's different about this year's team? And we'll dive into some of the players as well. What are you feeling about this squad as you get ready for your scrimmages, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you got Denby and Indian River, which are a couple of good challenges for you before game 1. Kind of give me the lowdown on your squad if you can.
Well, you kind of summed it up. Going into my third year, these guys have been around me long enough, and I've been around them. And what's great about it is they're meeting expectations, and even in some instances exceeding those expectations. So I'm proud of our young men, the way they're working. But of course, the bottom line is we have to bring everything to fruition and put it on the field.
For sure. And let's go over some of the names we should watch out for, I guess, beginning on the offensive side of the football. Any key returnees, some newcomers, and I guess it all begins in the backfield with your quarterback and your backs. What should we watch out for, names we should keep an eye out for the Packers here in 2024?
We're going to bring back our running back, Kenyon Martin. I think he may have been second leading rusher in Hampton Roads last year. He's a really good asset to us. Offensive line-wise, we're going to bring back 3 veterans, Deontay Green, Eddie Jackson Hellman. So they're going to solidify us up front. At the receiver position, we'll have Ian Montgomery and Merlin Lance. They're going to kind of be the mainstays there. And, we'll bring back our quarterback, Ja'Kai Parker, and we have, up-and-coming quarterback in Kyle Buggs. So we're going to have some solid individuals on the offensive side of the ball that's going to give us some sparks.
Real quickly before I let Ed jump in here with you, I think you heard the name Kyle Buggs. Is that Kermit's son?
Yes.
I understand he's got a promising future, right? Pretty good multi-sport kid?
Yeah, baseball player, football player, good athlete. So he's going to bring some really good intangibles to the game of football for us.
Getting it for year 3 at the helm, Tracey Parker, the Smithfield Packers, our guest on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Packers open up the season, Ed, at home Friday, August 30th against the Norview Pilots.
Tracey, when you took over Smithfield a couple of years back, what were some of the keys? I always like to find out from coaches your mindset of the first few things. Okay, this is what I got to do when I get here. Of course, you have to assess your talent base. A couple things, and then go from that to, are you there right now and ready to go into another gear, or you're still fine tuning it?
The first thing was to, assess our talent, introduce kids to, new offense and new defense, and, make sure mentally they understood the expectations of what was expected, offensively and defensively. And then, get in that weight room, get bigger, get faster, get stronger. I think our kids have really moved in the right direction. We've gotten mentally more in tune to what we're doing. We've gotten stronger in the weight room. So, I'm proud. Like I said earlier, these kids are moving in the right direction. We just have to continue to do it and improve it on the field.
Now, let's assess your squad in terms of a couple things which overall you're trying to do on offense. I know a lot of football guys don't want to give out too much what they're doing. We just had a Cox High School coach on. He talked about his triple option, which not many people run. And I, of course, needed to know what's the fine-tuning of that. So let's assess your offensive side of the ball, and then what are some things you're trying to do on the defensive side other than making sure they don't score no touchdowns?
Well, it's important to have a rule-based offense because, defenses now, they give you so many different fronts and coverages that the kids have to understand, okay, here's an odd front. Here's our rule when we have an odd front. Here's an even front. Here's our rule. And if we can apply our rules correctly, offensively, we'll have some success. So that's going to be very important for us.
How about some names to watch out for? Go ahead. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, on the defensive side, any particular set that you're going to start out of? Is multiple sets?
We're even front. We're even front. Two high safeties. We're going to try to be a little more multiple this year, give some odd fronts along with our even fronts, just to give offenses a little more of a challenge in preparation for us.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned it a little bit with what you're doing offensively, defensively, schematically, and some of the names on offensive side of the ball with Martin and Bugs and others. Will many of those guys double defensively? And who are some other names that will just be one-side guys on defense, be it the line, linebackers, DBs, we should keep an eye out for?
Right. Well, we try not to, have our kids go both ways. That way, during the course of the game, we can have those conversations we need to have. Defensively on that side of the ball, kids watch out for. William Flight plays defensive end for us, who's an all-district, all-region selection. Michael Williams, who plays inside interior on the D-line. Linebacker, we're going to be young. We're bringing in young John Wagner and Elijah Diggs and also Isaiah Diggs. They're brothers. They're going to come in on our defensive side of the ball. We're going to have in the secondary Bradley McGrath and Jaden Ruffin. Jaden's my experienced guy. He's more of my veteran back there. At the corner positions, we'll have Amon Rollins. So we're bringing back some kids, and as you see, you're hearing some different names. So hopefully that will help us as we go throughout the season.
Tracey, another thing I've talked about with the Cox coach, and because, again, we don't do enough talking about it as talking heads on here, special teams. What's your philosophy on special teams? Do you handle that? Do you have a coordinator for special teams? And like Tyler said at Cox, we know, Coach, it's 1/3 of the game. We have to be good at it. Your assessment on your special teams?
Hey, he hit it on the head. It's 33.3% of the game. So we do have a coach, Sherlin Savage. He's in charge of our special teams. Our kicker, he plays soccer as well. So, he has to get back in the groove of football because, he normally plays soccer all year. He's a specialist. He's very important to us. Great kicker, great punter. So we're going to spend some time on that, definitely. If it's 33%, then we need to spend 33% of our practice time in special teams.
And along those lines, now you mentioned something earlier. Cox plays a lot of guys, and I'm using Cox because we had him earlier. They play a lot of their guys multiple position in terms of offense, defense, and special teams, though they try to rest people on special teams. And you made the comment, like I would if I was coaching football. I want to rest guys, especially my main guys, because I need them. But on the other hand, they're your better athletes. You got to have them on the field. But I always think football, you're playing a whole game of football, be crazy. Do you use a lot of your main guys, so to speak, on special teams, or you try to rest them at that time?
Well, we try to rest them. They're plug-in guys for us on special teams because we have special team starters. We have, we treat special teams just like offense and defense. We have starters. So those guys are the starters, and they're kind of, the guys that may be starting on offense and defense are plug-in guys. They go in, as plug-ins if an injury or something happens during the course of the game. So we try not to play them as much, but they do play.
Now, what about, let's look at schedule. Usually Bay River's teams are kind of chasing Lafayette. Warrior Hill came in there last year. I felt you guys, you were still young, but I thought a lot of times during the year I was picking you because I thought, Tracey's putting in what he's going. They're going to surprise some people. Some people take them lightly. How do you assess the Bay Rivers this year in terms of, obviously, you want to win it all, but how do you assess it? And of course, where you think you'll be fitting in?
Fundamentally sound league. Bay River teams do what they do. We're a heavy wing T team, and those guys are really good at running the wing T. So, it's going to always be competitive. The good thing is, you see the offense one week, you see it again the next week. So you have an opportunity, to get better at defensively, against wing T teams that you see so often. I would say again, Lafayette, they're on top until someone dethrones them, and we're aiming to get to the top. So, just like us and everyone else, you're aiming to get to the top, but again, you got to take it one game at a time, improve every week, make little changes, whether it's personnel or schematically. And, good league, tough league, smart league, good athletes.
We'll let you run.
Go ahead. Just my last thing with Tracey. I see you got, was it Norview, Churchland at home as opener-ups? Those two tough ones, but you got them at home. Two good ones, probably to assess where you're really at going into Bay Rivers.
Yeah, two really good teams. Going to be athletic teams that we're going to play. I probably should have put a wing T team in there somewhere, but very good challenges to open the season and should have us prepared for our regular season in the Bay River.
Awesome. Well, that's my last thing for you, Coach, and we thank you so much for coming on. We'll get you on hopefully after a win, and we'll make sure it doesn't pick you as much because that can sometimes put the chinks on you. I'm curious what you want to get out of those first couple of scrimmages. You got some good tests there with Denby and Indian River and in those two district games. What are you looking to take out of your scrimmages into games 1 and 2 and those two non-district games as you go into the district where I think come October, we might be talking about you guys making some noise and kind of coming out of sort of that sleeper team in the Bay Rivers where, you have those teams like Lafayette and Pocosin that have state playoff pedigree. War Hill's had some great seasons here, but you guys are building and getting better, it feels like.
Yeah, I know you've heard the term iron sharpens iron. We're in the process of trying to play, teams that are really going to challenge us both physically and mentally. And I think we've done that in our scheduling. And hopefully that's going to prepare us, exactly like you said, for a playoff run. And, for us, one day at a time, one game at a time, continue to get better and learn from our mistakes.
It should be a lot of fun this coming year to watch the Packers grow and make sure you get our guy Keith from Smithfield to say hello to us on a Saturday morning. I love coming out there to see Keith because there's not a more loyal Packer fan out there in America. And I'm talking Smithfield Packers, Green Bay Packers, any Packers than that guy. He's one of a kind and a real treat.
Yep, he's a blessing to have. As a fan, we need all our fans to have Keith's enthusiasm, right?
Hey, Tracey, you got to, we haven't seen or heard from Keith since we made a transition from radio to here. We gotta get Keith on there, get his updates. Every time we would talk to him, he'd be a traveling man, though. He's all over the place. Southampton, Surrey County, somewhere near Richmond, Smithfield.
Atlanta, going to NFL games. He's all over the place, yeah.
Well, I'll make sure to get the word out to him.
Yeah, do that. We need to get him on there. We got to find out. He was our most loyal listener on the radio by far. Wasn't even close. So we got to get him back because we've even had some people ask about him.
Okay.
What we'll do is we'll have to plan a four-way convo, get you and Keith on the screen after a big win on a Saturday. How's that sound?
Sounds excellent.
There you go. That's what we like. That's
and
Tracey
also,
Parker.
Tracey, make sure you keep Doolin in line, because that guy right there can be a handful and a half.
I'll do my best anyway. You're definitely right.
Yeah. He's calling Doolin. Hey, Tracey, he's calling Doolin a handful. Ed, is that not the pot calling the kettle black? What in the world? I mean, come on.
Well, no, I'm way easier than Doolin.
Okay.
Doolin's always charged up, running around like crazy. I'm usually calm.
Oh, that's you.
I don't
Never
raise my voice.
Yell. Not in your DNA.
I will say this: I've worked with both, so I'm just going to say neutral.
Yep, there you go. It says it all right there. Well, Tracey, thank you so much. All the best to you and your squad this coming season. Hoping you stay injury-free and healthy and have a good year. Now, we'll keep in touch for sure.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Tracey, give love to the family, and we got to connect, man. It's been too long, and boy, I've been through some stuff, so we need to talk, and again, wish you the greatest success. And I'm going to pick you in a lot of games, so don't get mad at me. Get mad at him.
Appreciate you, ED.
Thank you, Coach. That's Tracey Parker, our guest with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We'll take one more final timeout and finish up today's episode right here on Cova Sports TV. We're all over the web: YouTube, Apple, Spotify, IG, Facebook, VirginiaPreps.com. We're everywhere. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and share it too, to tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, family, friends, everybody. But let's hear a word from our sponsors that make it possible for us, including Town Bank.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
question is, did you save her?
Boy, that was the highlight of the show. Her name is Kim.
Oh, you know her name?
Why would I not find out her name? I didn't say nothing rude to her.
I just
found out her
wondered.
name is Kim. She is a kind of a manager, quote, valet for the one tag team there. She didn't really do much or say much, but, well, she did much in terms of the guys watching the show, and we had a good view. So that in itself was a good part of the show. And but Kim is an interesting character. She almost doesn't fit that kind of action and stuff, but she's actually she's a sister of one of those wrestlers.
Okay.
Got to do your homework, man. Got to do your homework.
Yeah, in our final segment of today's show, we touched briefly on the trade deadline. Are you watching the American men's basketball team, by the way? I just put it on because I am watching now with great
Tell me they're up 35.
Not quite. They were, when we brought Tracey Parker on, as a 1-point game. So that made me a little concerned as they're playing Puerto Rico, and it's now a 3-point game with 4:14 to go. I didn't realize Chris Middleton of the Bucks, who I understand is our buddy Ethan Simon's favorite player, as I put that out there in the ethosphere, they're now within 3, as they were a 35-point pup, Puerto Rico, and they're giving Steph, LeBron, and our great Americans all kinds of trouble and making me sweat for other reasons. But go ahead.
It's a 3-point game and it's almost over.
No. It's 4 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Oh, second quarter.
They got Alvarado out there, and they're giving them all kinds of trouble. I didn't realize Middleton was playing with them, and then he just almost dunked it going against Embiid going baseline. By the way, people might watch this later saying, what are you talking about? So this is we're actually doing this live close to 12 noon Eastern on a Saturday, in case you watch this later on, for those that tune in then.
Yeah, we almost all our shows are live, except we do a couple a year that are going to be taped, and one might be next weekend because of prior obligations by both of us.
Yeah, so we hit a little bit on the trade deadline, the baseball topics earlier. We had Harry Minium of ODUsports.com on the show, Tyler Noe of the Cox Falcons on the program, Tracey Parker of the Smithfield Packers on the program. It's been a busy, jam-packed show. We're efforting one more quick guest. We won't keep him long if we do get him. He just got out of practice. He's a young man that made some news in the recruiting world. Our man Will Garlick chiming in. We love Will the Thrill, VirginiaPreps.com, who was doing yeoman's work, by the way. He's doing awesome work. He took Puerto Rico plus 21 halftime spread. You're in good shape, Will. I'm not so much. And he's got a question for you. What are your feelings on 8-man football in Virginia? Good question, Will. Good question.
Well,
appreciate that.
In terms of, I understand a couple of years
ago, on it too, but go ahead. Yeah.
There were some smaller schools, especially some private schools, that had to play 8-man football.
I believe Greenbrier Christian was one recently.
Yeah. And my attitude about that and feelings about 8-man, if that's what needs to be done, and then you're playing the other 8-man squads, by all means do it. If it's going to allow you to have football, and the interest is there, but you just don't have enough for 11 on 11. It's great. Do that. I don't see any issue with that at all.
I think the day is coming, Ed, to be quite honest. We've talked about this with Lynn Burke in the past and others, that we're going to get to a point where I do believe the Class 2 and Class 1, not that I'm saying that this should happen or is definitely going to happen, but I just believe it's inevitable that the day is coming where we will have 8-man football for those smaller schools, because just your participation, your enrollment numbers are just low. They're not at the point where you can have 11 versus 11, and your turnout for a lot of the small schools, whether you're in rural areas or not around the state, are just not able to churn out the number of bodies, healthy, able bodies, we should add as well, to play the game at that level. We're not talking about Class 6, Class 5. We're not talking about the Hayfields, the Highland Springses, the Morys, the Oscar Smiths of the world. We're not talking about some of the larger enrollment schools, your Ocean Lakeses, your Coxes, your Baysides, even your Smithfields that we had on. Even the 4 and 3s, I don't see it coming to them. But I do think Class 1 football in our lifetime, which is maybe, 15, 20 years, I think that day could be coming for Virginia high school football. And it might not be a bad thing. The private schools have done it effectively. I mean, shoot, these kids play 7 on 7. 8 on 8 is not the worst thing in the world. And I don't know, some might not like the product, but again, what's the alternative? I think it's better the alternative, which is not having a team or not playing. And you want to give these kids that opportunity to compete at any level. By the way, I got to get this out there too. As people are watching, not just on our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel, which we thank Will and others for doing that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. They're watching on Facebook. We're up on Facebook. We've got a new VirginiaPreps.com Facebook page, which we're putting all kinds of material up there for that. X, my account at Hatfield Sports, also on 757 Sports Talk on Twitter, or X, IG at Hatfield Sports 2K4. In fact, that's where Kel.2027, you know who that is, says, tell Coach Young, don't forget the stats. Have you forgotten to give one of your players, or I guess you could say now former players, stats that he's requested? You probably have.
You know, I started getting in. I think I'm on about the 5th game.
You started getting them done.
One thing's come up, and I promised him, and I'm not going to lie to this youngster because he's a great kid. Be a sophomore, sophomore in Nansemond River.
You should have told him that Hatfield would get him a lot faster than you would. That's what you should have told him.
Yeah, but you'd be charging kids left and right.
I'm not charging kids. I don't charge kids for stats or photos. I don't do that. Don't make me out to be a bad guy here.
I don't know if you'll have. Well, he played a lot towards the end of the year. Started some games towards the end of the year. You might have some pictures for him. He would love to get those photos because I ain't got no photos of him. If you have any photos to give to him, but I'm working on getting all his stats so that he wants to keep a composite as he moves on into his career, which is good. I think every player should be able to do that to really see what you did in high school instead of years from now saying, yeah, I was 1,000-point scorer and you didn't even play 1,000 minutes, let alone points. So, but this is a kid who's good. He's going to be good, continue to be good as long as he keeps on working. Sometimes his biggest issue is confidence. So that comes with maturity, comes with strength. He is getting stronger. He's a lefty. He was the lefty kid I think you might have remembered for us. Tough inside. He has some great hands, great feet inside of that.
It's Mekhi Mitchell, right? And his name was, get it out there, right? Or am I butchering it?
Yeah, it's Mekhi Mitchell. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Thought so.
It's how he pronounces it Mikhail.
Oh, Mikhail. Okay,
but I say Mekhi, but I'm going by what the kids want to be called and how it's used.
You misspell and mispronounce more names than any. Well, I just think any coach I know, but
I do it a lot of times on purpose so that they know who they are.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
That's the key. People have to know who they are. I know who they are. It's just, and sometimes kids change their nicknames, like more than they change their clothes.
This is true. It's good to know now that the Americans are up 15 as we near the end of the first half, as they're trying to pull away against Puerto Rico. A hefty favorite against here. By the way, while we have a moment, and again, I'm not sure we'll get the guest on today. He's trying to get connected, I think, but I can't promise folks out there. But we've had a jam-packed show full of guests. If we don't get him today, I'm sure we'll get him on at some point during the season. But a couple of commitments coming. One's already in the books, one coming today. And the one that's in the books, and we're going to have a list on our ticker. I'm hoping it's done by next week. We're going to have it up on our VIP board on VirginiaPreps.com. I have a list. I've just got to get it posted of all the FBS and FCS football players, class of 2025, rising seniors, that have committed to FBS Division 1A, as you know them, or Division 1AA, as you used to call them, FCS schools. And it's a long, lengthy list. We'll have a ticker that goes through 2 or 3 pages full of them for you as well that have verbally committed thus far. And we had just one more new one. We had one 2026 kid last week from Woodbury Forest who played at Louisa, Dajier Carter, who is going to Rutgers. In fact, he's verbally committed, but he's going to be a rising junior. Anyhow, we've got one coming up today as far as making an announcement, and that would be none other than Jalen Gilchrist, offensive lineman from Salem, who is expected to make his choice. He is down to 3 schools. And I believe those 3 are, if I'm not mistaken, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, and Maryland. And just yesterday, Maury, 4-star safety, versatile athlete, plays some quarterback, plays all over the place, 6'3", 180, 4-star kid, really good player. Kendall Daniels, who, if you remember, was coming off the injury from the season before, he announced his verbal pledge, picking South Carolina from a list that featured the likes of Alabama, Auburn, Boston College, Florida, Georgia Tech, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Miami, Michigan, Minnesota, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Penn State, Texas, Texas A&M, West Virginia, Wake Forest, and others. So South Carolina dipping its toe into the 757 again, Ed, and they've already got a defensive lineman from Matoka committed in Caleb Williams. If you remember, they got Daniels' Maury teammate from last year and Fred J.R. Johnson, who was the state defensive player of the year. So Shane Beamer, that's Frank's son, and company starting to get some talent. They did have a player that was committed who made a flip to Georgia, and that was Thomas Dale defensive back Shamari Earls. And we'll talk some more recruiting as well. People love recruiting. It goes year round, as you heard Harry Minium talk about with football and basketball with us. Gamecocks making some noise in the 757 in the Commonwealth of VA. Your thoughts as Daniels makes the pledge, and they could very well get Gilchrist today.
Very possibility, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say Gilchrist goes to Virginia Tech.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say, based on all the Twitter messages that I am tagged in, because Gilchrist has put up these tags from South Carolina fans who are rabid, and I'm telling you, they're crazy. I don't say it crazy in a bad way, so please don't come at me with any items or malice. I'm going to say I disagree with you. That's what I'm just going to say.
So you're picking South Carolina.
I mean, I just said I'm disagreeing with you. I didn't say he was going to pick South Carolina or not pick South Carolina.
I'm reading your mind. I know you. You're
a mind reader?
It's good to know you're a mind reader. I got Virginia Tech. And the reason South Carolina's in the area got to be, I think Shane or maybe one or two guys on his staff, probably some people that came from Virginia Tech, probably has recruited the area before, number one. Number two, it's an area that the nation knows about. The college coaches know about. There's talent in this area. So if they can get their hands into the area and grab a player or two, they're going to keep coming back. There's no question about that.
Speaking of Virginia Tech, you know who said hello yesterday to me as we were talking? That wanted to say hello to you, and you might remember him. He's now helping out. In fact, he used to coach basketball as the head man there. And he also was with Jim Larinaga. But we're talking about none other than James Johnson. You remember JJ? Powhatan, Virginia native?
Johnson. I remember James well, yes.
He's now the director of high school relations on the football side of things for the Hokies. And he told me to tell you hello. There you go. He also was with George Mason's Jim Larinaga and did the Final Four run in 2006, but now he's on the football side of things, but former head men's basketball coach. And I think he was, if I remember right, he was an assistant he was at Penn State, and I think he was at NC State as well. He could tell us when we get him on, but he'd be glad to come in. What's that?
He was with Kevin Keats. He was.
Yes.
They were college teammates, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yes. Did James ever say to you how that became where he went right from basketball to football?
Well, that's what we're going to get him on the show one of these days to let him explain, because it wouldn't do me justice to speak for him. I'd rather he tell.
Yeah, you would screw it up.
I would screw it up. Exactly. I don't want to screw it up. So yeah, we'll get him on one of these days to dissect all of that. Where are you going today, by the way? Because I know you have some plans today. Do you not?
Well, I've got a shirt that would probably help.
What is that? Is that a Pride Suffolk High Red Raiders? Oh, you're alumni? Yeah. Did you graduate from there?
No, did not graduate from there. Spent my first years of varsity head coaching at Suffolk High when I came from Pennsylvania in the long ago in the 80s. Won a state title there. And today is the old school classic started by Clint Wright, basketball coach at Lakeland.
Yeah.
9 years ago, 10 years ago, where Lakeland, not Lakeland, Suffolk High School, John Yates, John F. Kennedy, Forest Glen, the four original high schools back in the day when I came here. Alumni are coming to play alumni game, and then sometimes I think there's Southampton, and some Franklin sends a team once in a while. It's the old Peanut District that had those schools there. So big event. It's always jam-packed. Games are big time games. Some of the old rivalries are really festering, and they keep it going. So I'm going to go over there to see some of my old players. Just pray nobody gets hurt. And then we have a big get-together later on tonight out and about. So that's what my day is planned for all that.
There you go. Pretty cool. So you got another jam-packed Saturday after this.
Lakeland High School. The games are at Lakeland. I believe it starts at 1:00. So anybody out there who wants to get out of the heat, hopefully the AC is working at Lakeland. A few years ago, the AC went out. Boy, if it goes out today. But anyways, come on over there. I don't know how much it is to get in, but, sneak in or whatever. Use Hatfield's name and say that he sent you, and you get in. Even though it's some older guys, I'm telling you, the competition, I had to tell the guys calm down, fellas. You know, you guys are 30, 40, maybe even 50 years old, and you're trying to play hard like you did when you were 15, 17, 18. It don't work that way. But tradition is very strong. Suffolk basketball tradition, extremely strong. And those guys take a lot of pride in getting out there and play. So I'm just looking forward to seeing some of the guys maybe I haven't seen in a while.
All right. Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this latest edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. A lot of fun today. We had guests from wire to wire, it felt like, with Tyler Noe of Cox, Tracey Parker of Smithfield, Harry Minium, ODUsports.com, and we'll have more coming your way as we count it down to high school football. Edward, we are literally 20 days away from at the PLEX, Atlantic Shores football kicking it off, and then we go straight into that with the public schools the following week in our predictions battle, which I think I've kicked your Rudy Poo candy tail. How many years in a row now? 19, 20, 21? How many years in a row have I kicked your tail in the picks?
You beat me 5 straight. I think 8 of the last 9.
Legend you.
And I have won 2 of the last 4 playoffs. So we're 2-2 in the playoffs the last 4 years. For some reason, I do better in the playoffs than I do regular season. Don't know why. You have scouts out there, informants, insiders. I don't. So what happened here? 2 goats. We got called a goat. Oh, we're not a goat.
Shout out. 2 Goats Virginia loves you. Love you, Coach Ed. My big bro Melvin Odom said, "What's up?" You know Melvin Odom?
Melvin Odom, yeah. Oh, man. Coach Sham.
Yeah.
I try to get the picture. I can't see the picture. Who's Coach Sham?
Yeah. Well, you just have to give them a note on Facebook. They're watching all over the web. We appreciate it. You can
I appreciate it, though.
Facebook, YouTube, IG, X, or Twitter. We love the interaction live. Like it's just like, the days of the callers chiming in. And we want to get the pot stirred about this team's going to do this year and tell us why Ed is wrong and why I'm right. Or if you want to go vice versa, but you don't.
The fans love me. The fans love me. Yeah. They don't know how to take you sometimes. I have to educate them that Hatfield's okay. He's an okay dude. He does do his homework. He does work. The pool shenanigans is, unfortunately, I don't know what to say. I mean, he feels he needs to do that, and he's scaring a lot of, as I said, you scare a lot of young kids.
No,
and ladies don't want to jump in the pool because they're afraid.
Ladies love me.
In the pool, so. Like I said, I'm working with the Secret Service. We're going to try to put a stop to all that soon. So
I'm not a hater. I'm a lover, not a fighter either. That's going to do it. We thank you all for tuning in. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with you each and every Saturday, and we'll do it again next week, Lord willing. Have a great one, Ed. Enjoy the old school classic, and we'll see you when you get back from your assignment, your vacation assignment.
I hope so, because I'm going into some dangerous territory. I hope I can get them back from this one.
It's everything you do is dangerous. But we'll talk to you next week right here on Cova Sports TV. Have a great one, everybody. See you later.